Edna Cintron. This next picture is very disturbing and illustrates the helplessness of the victims of 9/11. Even though this woman appears to have survived the initial impact, her chances of survival were very low, and I know I have already shown a photo from 9/11 in a previous video, but when I seen this one, I knew I had to include it. Although more disturbing than unexplained, how the woman and also the man survived the initial impact of the plane is truly remarkable. We know that the woman is believed to be a lady called Edna. We know that the woman is believed to be a lady called Edna Cintron, a 46-year-old employee of insurance brokers Marsh & McLennan, but this has never been officially confirmed. The photograph shows the area where the plane struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center, and a gaping hole of mangled steel and molten metal can be seen, with the woman very visible and clinging to a severed pillar, waving desperately. It's incredible that so near to the point of impact, anybody was able to survive at all in that area. It was reported at the time that telephone calls from victims confirmed that not all offices on the floors that were hit were destroyed immediately though, and several of the trapped fled to cooler areas, and the areas where the planes hit would have been the coolest of all as the impact points were sucking in fresh air. Maybe this lady thought there was a chance that she could be rescued if she got to a cooler area and could be seen. With all the helicopters flying around, maybe she thought she could have been winched to safety. And it's believed that she was there for a considerable amount of time, not knowing that the towers would eventually collapse. Like I said in my previous 9/11 photo, it was truly a horrific event that should never have happened, and my heart goes out to all of those innocent people who were taken too soon that day. And I know many talk of conspiracies and such, but when they do, they seem to forget they are talking about an event that killed thousands and left even more families and friends without loved ones, so just consider this when giving your opinions. This next photo was taken near Zagreb in Croatia. The location is popular with hikers, and on the day the photo was taken, the photographer was with several friends who were all taking photos and messing around. But when looking through their pictures, they noticed an eerie figure in the distance. None of them recall seeing a person around whilst taking the photo, and although it's a popular place, on this particular day there were very few people around. And even though boar, deer and foxes roam the woods, this figure does not resemble any of them. None of them can really explain the strange figure, and it does not appear on any other photos. The only explanation they could come up with is that it was someone who was on a group hike who walked off from the group to pee in the woods with his back facing the camera. But they still can't understand why they didn't see the person, and pointed out that surely they would have at least heard the man if this was the case. Some people have said that the photo looks familiar to the mythical Slender Man, who as most of us know is a terrifying thin, very tall, faceless man who tries to abduct people. The photo has been put through analysis and it's not believed to have been tampered with, and none of the groups seen or heard anything unusual on that day that they could link with the mysterious photo. The Cabin Stalker. This next photo is a lesser known one, but it's truly terrifying and caused a lot of debate when it was posted on Reddit. It was taken by a man who was staying in a hunting cabin with some family in Michigan that was owned by a family member called Jill. On the day it was taken, most of the family had gone for a walk and only 2 of them were left in the cabin. After a while, one of them decided to take a panoramic photo on his phone of the cabin so he could show his girlfriend where he was staying. But when he looked back at the photo, he was shocked to see a figure lurking outside the window with what looks like a knife or weapon of some sort in its hand. When the rest of the family returned to the cabin some 3 hours later and looked at the photo, they seemed unconcerned, and even joked that it could have been the dead husband of the lady who owned the house. After taking a look outside, they discovered footprints leading from the woods behind the cabin to the exact spot where the figure was standing. And if that's not creepy enough, the next day when they showed the photo to the lady who owned the house, she was convinced the man looked like her husband who had passed away a few years before. When he was alive, he would go out rabbit hunting in winter months and would return to the cabin carrying his catch and his rifle, holding them in a similar way to the figure in the photo. After they studied photos of her dead husband and compared them to the photo taken, there was a definite resemblance in his posture and the bulky hunting gear he used to wear. The person who took the photo does not believe in ghosts, but has no clue what the figure is, and since the family members who went for a walk did not return for a few hours after the photo was taken, he is confident it wasn't one of them. The photo has been put through a filter and does not show signs that it has been edited. So what do you think? Is it the ghost of the owner's husband? Some have even put forward that it could be the infamous mythical Michigan dogman, and others say that people rob cabins like this, so it could have been a robber who backed off when he noticed the cabin was occupied. One thing's for sure though, it's pretty terrifying and leaves us with no definitive answers. So that's 5 very unexplained and disturbing